Ladies and gentlemen, we interrupt your regularly scheduled programming to bring you this special bulletin. Today, we are going to go through another edition of How to Destroy Interest in Your Product Before It Even Comes Out. In this latest edition, we're going over Marvel's Black Panther game. In this article from Comic Book Movies, I'm sure you've heard it. We're going to go over it again because it's just so much fun. And honestly, the more videos that are put out, the less they can stifle this information, the less they can block this information from getting out there and staying out there because, ladies and gentlemen, the internet is forever. Marvel's Black Panther game dev faces backlash after admitting to not hiring white developers. She was a little bit more, her statement's a little bit more than that, more than just not hiring white developers. Danny Lalander's an associate narrative designer for EA's Cliffhanger games. The studio working on Marvel's Black Panther has come under fire for comments made about discriminatory hiring practices, which I'm pretty sure is illegal. Narrative designer for Cliffhanger Games, a subsidiary of Electronic Arts and the studio developing the upcoming Marvel Black Panther game, landed in a bit of hot water. That's an understatement. This week, after their previous comments admitting to discriminatory hiring practices resurfaced. There's an interesting thing going on right now in the gaming industry with this whole Sweet Baby Stink and Gamergate 2.0, where one small statement was made, one small interest was made about Sweet Baby Inc. and Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. I'm just going to say it. Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, where there was a narrative consultant that was found out. It's like, oh, you worked on this game, and that was done a little bit of digging. And a curator page on Steam was created, and then all of a sudden, an employee of Sweet Baby Inc. raised a fuss, and the Streisand effect went into full-blown effect. I used the word twice. I hate doing that. And then all of a sudden, gamers across the internet decided to get into action, so to speak, and started digging up all kinds of information, all kinds of streams and conferences and talks and all this other stuff. And more information came out about these different developing companies, these different so-called consulting companies working on different games in the industry. We found out more and more and more. And this is just another casualty, I guess you could say. Another little bitty tidbit of information coming out on games that people are looking forward to, or I guess were looking forward to. And some of these companies, they're not too happy about it, but hey, oh well. Information is a wonderful thing for people to have at their fingertips to know what exactly it is they're putting their money into. Danny Lalander's associate narrative designer for Cliffhanger Games, and self-described, quote, more buzzwords, Black non-binary woman. She don't look non-binary to me. No offense. She looks like all woman. Cancel me if you have to. I don't care. I see it. I call it like I see it. I use my eyes. Previously admitted to building a team with, quote, no white people. Is that really what she said? Oh, let's find out. While working on a game called Validate. Quote, well, let's just go ahead and hear what she has to say. Let's hear it from her own mouth. Now, I went over this on a live stream, but hey, let's do a dedicated video on it and just keep it out there on the internet for everyone to see and for no one to forget. These are the people working on video games that we are looking forward to.
I have a team of 21 right now for Validate. It's a pretty big team. It's a crazy big team for indie.
Now, what she's talking about is the company Validate. That was before Cliffhanger devs. But all in all, hey, when someone says something, believe them. Do you think their attitudes can change? Do you think their hiring practices can change? You be the judge of that. Because, you know, gamers have been judged for quite some time for things that they've said or done 5, 10, 15 years ago. So is it fair to use those same practices against others? Again, you go ahead and be the judge of that. Listen to what people say. Listen to what these developers, these consultants say, and make the decision for yourself.
Games. But who is your team? Validate has a team of mostly mostly all people of color. We have no white people on our team. I did that because I wanted to create a safe environment. And I know the best way for...
She hired only black people because she wanted to create a safe environment. Okay. Maybe not the best choice of words.
For an environment to be safe is to be around people who are just like me. And I'm not saying that white people in the industry are creating unsafe environments.
Now, I don't know about you, but if I'm going to create an environment, a team to feel safe, and I hire a particular demographic of people, that means that can be assumed that I believe that the other demographics would make the team, the environment, unsafe. Is that an incorrect assumption?
I'm not saying that. That is not what I'm saying. I am saying that sometimes it is hard to work with white people because they think that something may be okay, but it was really a microaggression.
There's everyone's favorite word. And she made these statements in 2021. But again, you be the judge.
And no one wants to deal with that while they're trying to make a game that they love.
Microaggressions. Back to the article. Although Lalanders made these comments back in 2021, they recently went viral when libs of TikTok tweeted this portion of the presentation. It's so interesting that all these people, they come out and they say these things years ago and they think that no one's going to remember, no one's going to find them. But when you put something forth towards the internet autists will go out and find it. They found Shia LaBeouf, for crying out loud, because of a fly, I believe. My goodness. Lalanda's comments led to accusations of racism and discrimination, which is exactly what they were. That's just it. Now, if you're creating a game for a specific demographic, you want to have that demographic on your team, I can understand that. But to follow up that statement that you don't want to hire white people because they make it unsafe, or you want to hire black people only because you want a safe environment, that can be seen, and has definitely been seen in this situation, as an accusation that white people bring an unsafe environment to your team. That's a very strong statement. That's a very strong accusation, although she's trying to deny it in the same statement, which, again, you go ahead and be the judge. However, it's important to note that these comments were made back when Lalonda was lead developer and producer of the independent game Validate. Now, while that is true, again, has she changed her mind? Oh, you go ahead and, I don't know. Can a tiger change his stripes? Validate is a romantic visual novel about 13 adults in Jersey City, navigating new relationships and the harsh realities that come alongside them. The game was released in 2022 to mostly positive reviews to the people that bought it and played it. Additionally, she was working at Veritable Joy Studios at the time, a Chicago-based studio, quote, working to bring you authentic, heartfelt games about people of color. Now, again, if that is your goal and you want to hire that demographic, be careful with your statements. I don't know. Given the game's premise, yes, yada yada, one may understand why Lalonda would want to emphasize hiring people of color. God, I hate that term. God. Switch those words around. Is colored people okay? No. Then why is people of color okay? Just say black people. If you can say white people, as right here, you can say white people, nobody bothers anybody. Why can't you just okay? Because I'm about as... If white is denoting the color of this page, hey, neither one of these are fitting. Why don't you say Caucasian? Because then you'd have to... never mind. But blatantly admitting that she wouldn't hire white developers could make the studio subject to a potential lawsuit for discriminatory hiring practices, which, again, in case you didn't know, is against the law. Which is why I find it interesting, no, that's a whole different subject. Never mind, moving on. Now, it's important to note that this only pertains to Lalonda's time at Veritable Joy Studios. You said that already. Are you trying to defend her decision? And hopefully, maybe, perhaps, her attitudes have changed. But then again, it's, other things that other particular politically leaning groups have said 5, 10, 15 years ago, those things have been brought up and they've had to suffer the consequences for it. So how is this situation different? I'm not saying, I'm not trying to cancel anyone. I'm just asking questions. What do you think about these lovely little statements that I'm sure you've heard numerous times? But hey, we got to keep them out there. Got to keep them on the internet. Got to remind people of what's going on in the gaming industry. You would think, especially now, be careful what you say. Remember what you say. Are you looking forward to Black Panther now that you found out all these lovely, wonderful little things about the people behind the scenes developing it? I don't know. I kind of feel the same way about South of Midnight. A game I was looking forward to, then I found out Sweet Baby Inc. was involved, and now I'm just kind of crushed my soul, but moving on. You let me know what you think in the comments. Leave a like, leave a dislike, and I hope to see you on the next one.